Welcome back to SwitchCorner. It's volume 3 of our Hidden Gems series. You're going to find this video here on the channel every single Tuesday as I break down 5 games each week that are just absolutely worth adding to your collection from the huge amount of options we have available to us from the Nintendo eShop. Some of them will be obvious, some not so much, but the guarantee, absolutely no shovelware, just reasons why I like a game, why you might like it too, and who it will actually appeal to. So with that, hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here, join our growing family, and let's get started. In today's video, we actually have a couple more recent releases for you, and that's what I love about this series. It gives me a chance to talk about games I loved, but couldn't quite, get a video out for. So with that in mind, kicking us off, we have CrossCode. This one, you'll find yourself in a world where the general population, it takes part in a massively multiplayer online game called Crossworlds. Basically here, citizens get transported to this location and they take on quests. So think like almost a tame take on Ready Player One in a sense. Here though, you'll be taking on the role of a girl by the name of Leah. She has lost her memory and she is out to rediscover it along with help from a few friends by traversing this unusual science fiction future. While on the surface it may look like, just a traditional JRPG, it's actually a lot more involved thanks to its action combat system. There's no turn-based strategy here at all. This is fast-paced, almost like a hack and slash vibe to how it's implemented, along with this great fire technique as you'll be throwing these weapons straight at enemies or bouncing them off the world around them. They're also actually used to solve puzzles as well. Overall though, I just found this one really entertaining. The story, it can be a little bit slow to start with, that's for sure, but if you like generally a more fast-paced take on the RPG formula, you should find a lot to like here. It delivers an experience that feels familiar, but it's still adding in elements that make it, still feel like it's also bringing something new to the table. It's got a great skill tree system as well and upgrades. And also, I'm a fan of a more retro look, so yeah, it just checked a lot of the must-buy boxes for me. So let's do something obvious now, as we've really kind of avoided the heavy hitters up to this point so far with the series, but Cuphead. Cuphead is, no question about it, one of my favourite games of the generation, and I'm hoping, in fact I'm praying that one of the limited run publishers eventually pick up this one and release it. While it's not an easy game, in fact far from that, it's so good I would suggest nearly everyone at least gives it a shot. Essentially though, what we get here for the most part is a 2D side-scrolling boss rush experience, meaning you traverse this 3D styled overworld, you find a boss's location and you get to work on defeating them. I think it's fair to say though, Cuphead is held very much in high regards, and for me it would be a rare, super rare actually, 10 out of 10 experience, but it's not because of just the stunning 1930s styled visuals or the animations that truly nail that cartoon come to life vibe, but it's the creativity itself of the movesets you have at your disposal, the variety in the boss encounters, and honestly the soundtrack too. Here though, you're going to find enemies like carrots that have never seemed so scary, dragons for a flying portion of the game, a slot machine with a particularly nasty moveset, and there's even one that takes place on a roller coaster that just took me absolutely forever to get my head around. Cuphead isn't overrated though, the hype is very much real, and to top it all off, it has one of the best co-op experiences you can have. And then there's, I'm going to mention it again, it's the soundtrack. It's just jazz infused, and it's to another level, to the point where I picked that up physically too. Masterpiece of a game and easily worth the price tag. So turn-based strategy fans now, Invisible Ink. This one is in my opinion up there with XCOM and the like, but it kind of released to little fanfare, and I feel like now it's kind of, fallen off the radar for most people out there, and that's a shame when a game is this good. This one, it's not bringing anything new to the genre, but what it does really well. Here, you're basically, it's a standard setup, drop into a location, complete objectives, and then go and find an extraction location. While of course it is slow paced, as is the nature of the genre, it's just extremely well crafted with solid mechanics throughout that just translate to the Switch so well, especially in handheld actually. That's my personal favourite way to play this one. But this one I just find very little to dislike, honestly. The storyline, it's a generic espionage one, but stealth games have been so rare recently, I still really enjoyed it. The skill sets of each of our characters and they're unique. The visuals, some of the best I've seen for the genre, and they're just so clean. They're definitely low detail, but it actually helps you. Things like invisible walls or obstacles that go transparent, it works perfectly never to impact your point of view. Even the after mission upgrades you get, they all add to this incredibly satisfying experience where you will feel like you're always making a difference, always making progress, and then you'll even be messing with your squad because you'll be able to unlock new agents. This one actually features permadeath, so you've got to be aware of that and kind of take it easy and be smart in the way you play. This Switch version though, it even includes all DLC. Invisible Ink, it just deserves the love of the genre fans out there because it's one I keep on finding myself personally going back to, as it's designed very much for multiple playthroughs. Alright, sci-fi fans, now Observer, a cyberpunk themed experience, which is all the rage right now, but this one, its influence is pretty clearly Blade Runner, and gotta be honest, that is never a bad thing. The game even features Rutger Hauer from Blade Runner in the lead role. Be warned though, before you go jumping in all excited for a cyberpunk experience, this one is very much horror focused, leaning actually heavily on the psychological side of things. So if that's not your thing or you scare easy, do not come here because it's for sure creepy. Here though, just expect this incredibly fleshed out futuristic take on Krakow, Poland in 2084, and you're a detective out to unravel the mystery of your missing son. Starts simple enough but quickly escalates into not only branching story points but the surreal too. This one for me just caught a great balance though between the horror and the story elements, neither feeling like they outweigh the other, and it never relies either on just simple jump scares. It's very much creating this intensity, this terror in the background. Gameplay wise then, Observer, it's not the quickest of gameplay, and I would say it's essentially a walking simulator in first person, but don't let that put you off because it feels more involved than most, with more to do I'd say, and a faster pacing than would be typical. There's also a lot here in the world to interact with, and there's also investigation moments that basically amount to looking around the environment and trying to scan objects and solve puzzles. Finally then, I think it's fair we've got to shout out the visuals and sound too. It just builds a world that I couldn't resist wanting to dive into every single corner, and I thought it was absolutely stunning, even if there is, I will say, a noticeable Switch downgrade with some pixelation, some blur, and the occasional hiccup in performance. Not enough though to detract away from how good a game this is. It's incredible stuff if you don't mind the slightly higher price point than we normally see for an eShop experience. So the final game then this week, ITTA. This is one I reviewed over on the channel, and it's obviously got its clear similarities to games like Hyper Light Drifter and Enter the Gungeon, but I gotta say, this definitely puts its own stamp on things, and it made me a day one player. Influenced here though by themes of personal struggle, the game's story is surprisingly deep, as it challenges the mentality of if there is a light, there must be darkness, and the important thing to do is just to basically keep going no matter what you endure along the way. It's a unique premise that tackles the theme really well, with a whole lot of weird to kind of support it. Basically here you wake up, you're surrounded by your dead family, and your only guide in this world is a spirit that takes the form of your family cat. Now I did warn you before I told you that it is a little on the weird side, but what it establishes, what it sets up, is a world full of really unique individuals and gods. ITTA though, it's basically an isometric action game that blends the visual styles of Hyper Light Drifter with boss rush gameplay that could be lifted easily from Enter the Gungeon. So yeah, basically 18 different bosses, all with different bullet hell patterns that you need to dodge and weave your way through. I loved it, the weapons were fun, the story for sure interesting, the world for the most part as well really nice to explore. It did get a little repetitive at times, and then as well the music that I will say definitely reinforces these environments. If you like a challenge, this is a good place to look, but even if you just like the idea, maybe consider this one. It's a nice kind of entry point for someone who wants to get into that bullet hell boss rush mode, because it's very accommodating for those new to the genre thanks to options like damage multipliers and invincibility. From what I can tell though with this one, it is one of the devs' first games, but now I'm looking forward to seeing where they go next, because this for sure shows a hell of a lot of potential for some incredible new experiences, and I'd love to see something that's based in this universe again. And that's it, another 5 down. If you've played any of these, let us know in the comments below, and whether you agree or disagree, because we're all about seeing those different opinions so the community can get like a wide range of angles on the games we mention. With that then, a quick shout out to the patrons of the channel as well, who are just going above and beyond to support us and to support the growth of the channel. It truly is appreciated, and thank you all so much. If you want to check that out for yourself, I have linked it in the description below. With that though, hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here. Join our growing family, because we will for sure have the content you're looking for. Hidden gems on Tuesdays, deals under $10 or your local currency on Thursdays, Fridays it's what's coming up in the next week, and then Saturdays it's deals but any price goes, and that's covering the US, Canada, UK, EU and AU. Between all of that too, then we even feature a ton of reviews and special features. Basically we keep things busy here to make sure you always have something new to check out. So yeah, I'll see you all on the next video and talk to you all in the comments below. Thanks everyone.